Before I begin today's video, I'd like to ask you to please bear with me, because many of you, when you hear today's topic, are going to be tempted to click away and wait for next week, many out of the 11 or so subscribers I have. But I would ask you to please at least watch the first few minutes while I explain why I'm doing this particular topic. Insert logo and dramatic opening music here. Considering what today's topic is, I feel like I should also remind you once again what the rules are for the comments, which are the same as on my blog, which is be civil, be clear, be on topic. So that is to say, you are allowed to disagree. You are allowed to say why you disagree. In fact, if you disagree, please do explain why you disagree. It's perfectly acceptable to say, I disagree and here's why. It's not okay to say, you're an idiot and I don't like your face, because that's not going to convince anyone. So be civil in your comments. If you say you're an idiot and I don't like your face, even if it's true, it's not going to convince me. The only people who are going to be convinced are the people who already agree with you. So it doesn't make much sense to say that. You need to be clear about why it is that you disagree. Now, with that out of the way, I'd like to tell you what the topic is, which is kind of painful, and I do try to avoid politics on my blog and YouTube channel when possible. But considering the situation going on in the world, I think that a video concerning politics would be appropriate. So I'm going to start out with politics in general, but then most of the video is actually going to be relating to Donald Trump, and I would like his supporters and the people who hate him both to watch this video. Regardless of whether you like him or not, please hear me out. Now, there is a lot to cover with this topic, and I'm going to try to be concise, and I'm going to try to fit it all in, but the very first thing that I need to cover is why you should even care, because it is very easy not to care about politics, and there are some people who are very politically driven, who are going to see that this video is about politics and be like, yes, politics, I must watch this video. But there are other people who do not like politics, and I've seen all sorts of videos and jokes and articles and all these different things about how annoying those people are who are always posting about politics on Facebook, or here's a list of 7 different ways that you can avoid politics on Facebook, or all these different things about how you can avoid politics. And I see people talking about how, oh, all the candidates are terrible, it doesn't even matter. And I understand that politics is not pleasant, and even I, as I am watching the political race, am filled with pain at the sight, because things are not going well. It's like, I work with 3- and 4-year-olds once a week, and oftentimes they are better behaved than the candidates have been. So I understand not wanting to be involved in politics. But I think that it's still important to pay attention. And there's a quotation, I don't remember who it was by, Socrates or Plato or some person, who says that the penalty for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by tyrants. And I agree, and I think that that's why we need to pay attention. Not because it's pleasant, not because there will ever be a perfect candidate who can fix everything and make all our problems go away, but because we have to choose something, and if we don't pay attention, then it will affect us. And the way we see it is, this is my day-to-day life, how does it matter who's up there in the political office or whatever? But it does affect us, because they make policies and they make laws and they make rules and they do all these different things that do affect us, and we don't recognize it because it doesn't affect us directly, but it does affect us indirectly. And this is part of why I got so annoyed at Chris Christie in some of the debates, because he was talking about how his eyes were glazing over when Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio were talking about what happened in the Senate. And on one hand, I understand the debate stage is probably not the best place to talk about all those details and stuff, but on the other hand, the president needs to understand that stuff, because the policies that they make actually do affect us. And it's something that does need to be discussed. It's an important job, it's an important role, and we need to be paying attention to this stuff, even if it's not pleasant, even if it doesn't feel good. We need to be looking out and seeing what is going on if something bad is happening, how can I stop it? And everyone's like, oh, but I'm just one person. My vote isn't going to matter. Or how am I going to stop this? Yeah. You are just one vote, but first, some elections, some rare elections, have been like 3 votes away from swapping results. So votes are important, even a single vote. And secondly, the reason that it doesn't make a difference because you have a single vote is because everyone thinks that way. Everyone thinks, I'm just one person, what can I do? But if everyone decided to change their mind and to actually pay attention, then that would be more than just one vote. So the thing is, you as an individual are just one vote, but your mindset is statistically very similar to the mindsets of many other people. And so if you change your mind, then odds are that other people will likewise change their minds. Now, I'd like to get to the meat of the video, or rather I wouldn't like to, but I should, because the meat of the video is Donald Trump. And so, once again, I would urge you to hear me out, because if you hear something that you don't like, whether you are his supporter or a hater of him or whatever, if you hear something that you don't like, it is going to be your instinctual reaction to click away from the video. Please hear me out, because I am going to explain my reasoning, okay? Now, first, let me say this. It is never going to be a race between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton because Donald Trump can't win. And don't leave the video yet, okay? I understand. Yes, Donald Trump is in the lead. Yes, Donald Trump may very well get the Republican nomination. I am not disagreeing there. It is very likely that Donald Trump will get the nomination. Do not leave the video yet, okay? Here's the issue. Donald Trump cannot win a general election is what I'm saying. Don't leave the video yet. He can't win a general election because so many Republicans hate him. And there are all these polls that come out and say that Donald Trump is the only Republican candidate left in the race who is still losing to Hillary Clinton. And there are all these polls that come out that say that Donald Trump has the highest dissatisfaction rating out of all the candidates, that he has the lowest net approval rating, and basically the reason he's in the lead is because the vote is split. Okay, and there are all these people who comment on these articles who shout, no, these are a bunch of lies, and the establishment is just trying to keep Trump out, and that's what the issue is, and all these people are lying, and they're trying to turn you against Trump. Okay, listen. These are not lies, and here's how I know that these are not lies, okay? Listen, here's how I know that these are not lies. Because these polls reflect my views before I ever even saw those polls, okay? So I have heard people who accuse me of having changed my mind because I've believed the media lies, okay? The media is lying to me and I believed it and I changed my mind and now I'm against Trump. People have accused me of that. Okay, no. I was against Trump before I ever even saw the polls. So obviously I did not believe the media lies and did not change my mind because of a lying poll. Now, a while back, Donald Trump said that he could stand in the middle of the street and shoot somebody and he wouldn't lose any voters. And here's the thing, I agree with him, but do you understand what he was saying when he said that? He's saying that it doesn't matter what he does at this point because people are going to support him anyway. Trump has become this ideal figurehead that people have in their heads, okay? People aren't looking at Trump. People aren't supporting Trump. People are supporting the name Trump because of this idea that they have in their heads that they like to believe in, okay? So anything that Trump does, people are either going to make excuses for it, or they are going to say that it didn't actually happen and people are just lying and trying to bring Trump down. People aren't going to look at how he's actually behaving. They aren't going to realize that he described his own temperament as being identical to when he was 6 years old. Okay, they aren't going to look at his actual policies, his actual record, his actual anything. They're just looking at this imaginary figurehead that they have in their head who happens to look and sound exactly like Donald Trump. But here's the issue. Trump very well may get the Republican nomination. And I hope that that doesn't happen, but it may. Now let's say that it does happen. It will be Trump versus Hillary. And Trump will realize at that point, if he doesn't realize it already, that there is no way he can win, because there are so many people who outright hate him. Okay, and I know you're going to say, no, those are a bunch of liberals, those are a bunch of people who are establishment politicians, you know, they don't matter. Okay, here's the thing. In a general election, it's typically assumed that for the most part, the Republicans are going to vote for the Republican candidate and the Democrats are going to vote for the Democratic candidate. And so now we're looking at the independent and third-party voters to kind of sway the tides one way or the other, okay? But in this particular case, that's not going to happen because even Republicans have turned against Trump. And people are going to say, oh, well, they're just lying, they just hate him. Okay, even Trump supporters acknowledge that people hate Trump. And that's part of why they say we should rally behind him, because he's so honest, he's so willing to speak his mind, he's so not worried about being politically correct. And whether or not he's honest or not is a different topic, okay? Whether or not you believe he's honest doesn't matter, because a lot of people believe that he is not honest, and a lot of people believe that he is not someone who is qualified to be the president of the United States. And there are a lot of people who simply will not vote for him. And you disagree with those people, but they're not all Democrats, they're not all liberals. I am a registered Republican, and I know many other registered Republicans who are not going to vote for Trump if he is the nominee. And you can say, oh, well, you're an idiot, you're going to be giving the election to Hillary Clinton. The way I see it, Trump couldn't win even if I voted for him. But if I vote for a third-party candidate, then at least there's a chance of getting someone good. Of course, I don't want Hillary Clinton, but there are so many people who see Trump as just as bad as Hillary Clinton that what would be the point? Why should I vote for Trump if it's just Team Red versus Team Blue? If Trump and Hillary are just as bad, which you may not believe, but a lot of people do believe, if Trump and Hillary are just as bad as each other, then why should someone vote for someone just because they're on Team Red instead of Team Blue? It doesn't make any sense. So it makes more sense to vote for a third-party candidate who may not be able to win, but at least has a better chance of winning than Trump, because no one knows about this third-party candidate, and this third-party candidate will have an easier time gaining support than Donald Trump does, because Donald Trump is gaining support from the people who are going to support him no matter what, and don't care about if they're right or wrong. Now, ordinarily, I would say like, share, comment, subscribe, and please do all of those things. But in particular, I think that it's important if this type of video is shared, because it's not just something for personal philosophy or anything like that. This is something that affects America, and America affects the world. And even if you don't see how something like this will affect you, and even if you don't see how you individually can make a difference, spreading the word does make a difference, because people hear it. Your vote does make a difference, because if you're voting, then other people are probably going to vote as well. And even if we don't see how the policies and laws affect our lives, they do affect our lives in an indirect way. So, thank you. Those are my thoughts on the matter, and farewell.